Video part one. I've already taken the fenders off, don't worry about that. I'm cleaning this up, 332. Unfortunately, that cylinder has 100 pounds, and this one has 180, and that one has 350, so engine is no good. So this is our first. It came to me with the hood and side panels off. I just ended up pulling the tank, which is over there, and the fender pan. So cleaning it up, and then we're gonna get ready to pull the motor. Making some progress. We have a 3-cylinder gas. I can definitely see some differences. Obviously I have to put all that on there. This came out of an out front mower. I gotta put my muffler on, and I gotta do some wiring, but overall I think this is gonna work out pretty good. Thermostat necks are different. So anywho, I guess we'll get going on this pretty soon. I'm not gonna film transferring some of this stuff over, but I will try to touch some bases here and there. So we're on the next step, which we have removed the PTO and obviously the starter. Didn't know I didn't have to remove that, but I wanted to remove the bell housing. So I've got the bell housing off. Looking at things, this, I've got to throw a tape rule on this. If it's overall the same, this guy, let me get on that. If this is overall same length as this, I'm probably going to just use this one. Especially if it's overall length, but I might wait and do that measurement until I get the bell housing to where it will fit, which means I got to take this starter bolt out. I got to cut it off actually, so that the bell housing will sit flat. I've got to get the guide pin here. I'm gonna have to knock that back through so I can put it in here where it belongs. I think there's one down here, which I'm not sure if we even have a hole for that, but you know, we're still looking to make sure that everything is going to line up and work. But so far so okay. Most things are good, other than the thermostat housing is different. I think that's the thermostat. Water outlet, upper outlet. Obviously I have to put an alternator on this, and I got to put the muffler on it. The muffler's off. Not a big deal. Should be pretty simple stuff to do there. I do have the muffler since this one's no good. The one I have isn't much better. I don't know where it's at right now. It's around here somewhere. But anyways, it does rattle inside, but we're not gonna worry about that. It's better than what I have. It'll give me something. If anything, I can cut it off of the flange if it becomes necessity. I have to stuff all that wire harness back in. I took it out. Mostly took it out because I didn't know what I was going to need or what I was going to be into. So now I'm going to have to put it all back in, tuck it back in where it belongs. And I'm glad that I took it out because it allowed me to clean the frame really well, and kind of get prepared for that aspect of things. I do have to fix things like these fittings. They're all rusted. I may keep on trying to get them freed up. I think that might be easier than changing them out, buying new ones, or whatever the case might be there. But yeah, so right now I'm dealing with bell housing. According to John Deere, they're all the same bell housing, 322, 332, and the F915. But unfortunately, what I am seeing is different. So I got to do some digging. The cast right inside this housing has 3TN 66UJ2, which is the engine. So I gotta think that they are different. So I don't really know. Because I've got a 3TQ or 3T something 66UJ. So it's a 66UJ motor, so it's gonna be like 17, 18 horsepower. But I got to figure out what's going on there. Maybe it's just an improper bell housing. I'm not really sure. But when I try to put it on, it definitely hits my crank triggers. And so that being said, I don't know if I can relieve the housing enough to actually put this on. So, you know, another dilemma. We're going to figure it out. It's just going to take time. little patience, a little time, a little effort. Well, probably a lot of effort, but nevertheless. So yeah, I'll keep going with this. I'm doing this in steps, so you're not going to see all this at once. So I don't know if this is going to get posted individually or how we're going to do this yet. So anyways, I'm going to get cracking at this. So I've taken the liberty of picking this motor up off the floor. I'm tired of working on it down on the floor. But I've got everything off of this one that I can transfer. The starters are different. The bell housing is different. So I transferred the water outlet, thermostat housing, whatever you want to call it. Made sure to put the thermostat in just to be safe. I still need to mount my time delay box, which is dangling right at the moment. I need to get my drive shaft hooked up. And then I've got some wiring to fix back here and figure out where I'm going to pull my power and my ground for my time delay box for this engine. I'm hoping that my throttle cable is going to work, which I believe it's going to work. I need to drill this pin right here so that I can get the cable through it and put a barrel on the end of it so it won't fall off. I need to get one of those doodads because that's not cool. It might work. And I still need to put a choke cable in it. Obviously gonna need a choke. I gotta put my gas tank back in, or fuel tank as it were. It is now a gas tank, so. And everything has been cleaned except for this engine. This engine's pretty clean, so I'm not gonna worry about it. Hopefully I have a bell housing before the weekend. I'd like to get it put together and running this weekend if I can. But, you know, those things happen. Gotta clean out a couple holes. I still have to deal with that starter bolt there, right there. And I'm gonna have to get the dowel pins out of this. I'm not sure if I'm gonna have to get these studs out and transfer them, or if the new bell housing will have them. These studs here for the PTO. And then I'm hoping that my overall height here is good enough that I can put my PTO on it. I'll have to probably get a keyway here. I don't know if I can get this one out or not. I don't want to use this little screwdriver, but I was cleaning out this little hole here. But nevertheless, I got to get a bolt out here, which is holding wire right here, which holds some wires. And I'm going to have to lube up some wires. I'm going to have to take the glow plug wire up. So basically what we're doing is we're combining the two, and then I've got to wire all this. They had a push button to start this tractor when it was the diesel. So I'm going to go ahead and catch this wire here, and I'm going to catch the wire out of the back of the switch up there. And I'm just going to zip tie a new wire onto this harness and connect them together down here so that it works off the key. I want it to work properly. You do need to find the muffler, which is right here. Right there's the muffler. I got to get some studs for it yet. Hopefully it's going to fit and work. If not, I'll take that one off and put on it, even though that outlet's pretty bad. Maybe I can cut that outlet off and cut that tail off of this one and put the outlet onto that one. I don't know. My first step is just want to get it put together enough so I can get it fired up. I don't think that's going to happen today. Mostly because I don't have any gas and I really don't feel like going down to the store and get any, but I know that the engine runs. It was bought from Small Engine Garage. He's a very reputable person. If he says it's good, it's good. He won't sell anything that's questionable. And if he is selling you something, he's going to tell you everything he knows. Just in case you're ever looking for John Deere parts, good guy to go with. Highly recommend it. But that's just my opinion. Others may vary. I don't care. That's my opinion. So he's helping me out on this. He gave me a good deal on this engine, so it's worth spending anything I'm spending on it. I've got to spend it. It's like $50 somewhere there for the bell housing. I don't know what a starter is going to cost yet. I think I'm going to have to do something different with an air cleaner. The outlets are in two different places. This one is farther towards the front of the tractor, where this one's more centered. And the carburetor is bigger than that. So I already tried to stuff the hose on. But now that I got the engine off the floor and up on the tractor, I may try again. But I'm thinking that it's probably not going to work. I won't truly know until I can get the holder for the air cleaner put in. If I don't think it's going to work, I'll just run up to his place after I get it put together, and I'll pick up these missing panels. I got both these panels are missing. I'll pick them up. I have one of the tail lights missing. If he's got one of those, I'll pick one of those up. Probably won't cost me a fortune. It'll be worth my troubles. And then I'll pick up an air cleaner off of an out front mower, which is what this came out of. I'm guesstimating that this is the same horsepower as the 322 engine would be, which is about 17, 18 horsepower, somewhere right in that neighborhood. The diesels were, I think, 16, and I think the gassers were a couple more horsepower. A lot of people really like these, so they're a lot quieter than any other engine in the 300 series, so here's to hoping. I'm building this for a work tractor for my business. Whether my business pans or not, I don't know. But nevertheless, I want to be looking for a two-way blade, not a four-way, which I know probably don't make sense, but I don't need that extra cylinder for what I'm going to be doing with it. That extra cylinder will just get in the way, and I would end up having to take it off anyways, so I think a two-way blade would be my better bet. I don't mind getting off the tractor to angle it if I'm plowing snow. Not a big deal to me. I don't really care. So like I say, I got them out today. I'm just trying to get everything kind of figured out, where I stand, what I need to do. As you can see, I've got the engine suspended. I've got it tipped up quite a bit because I was checking the test to make sure that the bell housing would go without having to pull the darn thing back out. So I'm good there. So next step would be get dowels out and some little things like that situated, get the holes cleaned out, just chase the wiring down. Just the little things that make a project better. I'm gonna have to probably chase down a new ground wire, and I think my positive wire was good. So overall, I've got side panels, I've got a hood. Everybody's gonna look at it and see 332. Unless they really know John Deere, they're not going to know that it's not correct. I'm going to try to make it look as good as I can. So that will include taping this wire up the end so that when key is turned on and it cycles, it won't. And then folding it back over and wrapping the loom in tape to hold it down, just so it looks professional. Some of this stuff over here, I don't even know what some of these are. I don't know what these are even. They could be lights for all I know. I don't really know. So anything that needs cleaned up, I'll clean up, and needs fixed, I'll fix. As of right now, my math is telling me I'm gonna have a fair amount of money into this tractor, so I don't know. I really don't want to say what I've got into it in case I do decide to sell it. I don't think I'm gonna make money, as the bumper's beat up there. All these hydraulic fittings are froze. They'd all have to be replaced at a cost. The pan's kind of beat. The brake pedal is bent. It's bent less than when it come here. I did straighten it up some. The hydraulic levers are bent. The dash is kind of crummy. So, this tractor's been pretty beat. So, for me, it's fine. I don't really care. It's going to sit outside. I'm going to use it, whatever. It doesn't matter. But for somebody else, it might matter. So I'm thinking I'll have less than $1,500 into it. A pretty decent machine. But I do have a plan because I do think this will probably end up being a loader tractor at some point. My plan is to come off of this with a coupler and maybe a short shaft to come into this area so I can catch these 3 bolts where the rear PTO would go, and make a stand-up bracket to hold a hydraulic pump in this area here. Hopefully there'll be enough room in the frame. There's quite a bit of room in this frame, so I'm hoping there'll be enough that I can go ahead and do that, which will allow me to run a hydraulic pump here, and I'll be able to run some lines out and down one side or the other, depending on space. I'll hard line them out of pipe, different size pipe, bigger for the inlet and the feed and the pressure. There'll be different sizes. and I'm gonna go ahead and, you know, rubber hose just a short distance, because I do plan on a 3-point hitch for this. Probably gonna end up with a rug 3-point if I can get this all apart. I have no idea, but you know, that's here and there, and we'll figure that out when that time does arrive. It looks like it should be not too bad. It looks like it just bolts on, so that's on my plans. I do plan to put a rug 3-point on it just because at the end of the day, I do plan to use this tractor, and like I say, I do plan to keep it. I don't have any intention of wanting to sell it at this point in time. I just don't see a necessity in it, or a want or desire. So that's why I'm building it the way I want it. Otherwise, I would have overhauled that motor and went ahead and put that back in. Long run, reality is that probably would have cost me about the same as this project, but it would have kept the tractor true to what it was, but it wasn't going to be worth any more money. So, you know, like I say, there's, you know, every time I look at it, there's little things like this. I don't even know what those wires do, so I got to figure that all out. I got to get my fuel pump hooked up, which it's unhooked on purpose right now because I'm doing some electrical testing, trying to figure out where to pick up my power and ground, and how I want to mount some things, and how I want to do some things. And like, I'm going to try to find a block of wood here in a minute, and I'm going to go ahead and plug my air back into my lift table and shoot this thing up in the air and see where I can mount that, where it looks like it might be comfortable for me, where I might be comfortable with it. And then I'll take like this right here, and I'll zip tie that loom down so it can't move and it's out of the way. I'll service this thing, I'll grease it, all that fun stuff. It'll be a nice tractor when it's done. If I keep it, great. If I don't, well, whatever. But, you know, I gotta fix the PTO switch. I didn't ever hear that clicking when I was checking it out, and I couldn't get a test light to light up. There's a lot of little things I need to do, and I'm gonna pick them off little by little. Probably try to pick some of them off this week while I'm waiting on my bell housing to get here. And so, you know, I'll try to figure this out. I'll probably cut that bolt off. That's probably my best alternative. Or take it out, take it to work with me, and see if I can match up a really super short one. I don't know. But when I come back with this, I should have most of the things like this done. I'm going to wrap them wires up nice, make them look decent where they come down, so that when I do this, it's much better. I don't want it to look like a terrible mess. You know, some of the stuff you're not going to see once those panels are on. You're not going to see it. You wouldn't know it anyways, but I will, and that's what matters. And like I say, probably got ahead of myself putting the motor in, but reality is I really needed to see where I sat, and really want to try to get this done. I was hoping that the bell housing would work. I almost just went ahead and marked where them were and notched the bell housing out. But for around 50 bucks, I can have the right bell housing that's going to go right on. So I figure it's worth it. It's not worth my time and effort and trouble to cut that bell housing up when I can put it back with this engine, even though I'm going to use all the bolts, so there won't be any bolts with it. But I can use that bell housing with that engine, and I'll probably end up selling that engine, so it doesn't really matter. You know, somebody else will have that bell housing. They'll have to get bolts, but that's on them. Who cares? But what'll be nice about that is that'll give somebody else the ability to have a mounting point in the mounting points in the back, aside from what's there, and it will also keep that thing pretty complete. I think it probably would run. I really do. I think if you could get it started and get it warm, could have got it warmed up, I think it would have been okay. I don't know that. And to be honest, I might tear it apart. I don't know. But for now, that's where I'm at. So I will put this video, I will continue this when I get some more on it. But yeah, so far so good. So we got main fuse in. I've got the ground wire run down here. Oh, we got some extra stuff here, but this extra ground wire we're not going to worry about. I did mount the time delay box under here. I don't know. Right there. Right there. So we're starting to get somewheres with it. I got got bolt nuts for the muffler. I got the start wire on here and kind of zip tied up, but we got ball housing. As you can see, it came with the bolts. So on a good note, it came with bolts. So we're good there. Over, this is where it gets interesting. If you look at it, you can see the dip out here that we don't have here, and the dip out here that we don't have here. So yeah, and dip out here. So I think we got it. So I'm gonna get the motor mounts put on and this tag off and get this thing jacked back up so I can get this ball housing put on. Okay, still got to get the throttle, get the choke. I got a bolt to tighten up yet. PTO stuff. I stuck the hood on it just to kind of get that out of my way for a minute. I don't think the side panels are right, but at any rate, starter's out. Got to get these wires all connected. There's 4 of them all together. I didn't pay good attention when I took it apart, so I oopsed. No big deal. Other than that, it's in. I need to get an air cleaner yet. Tidy up some things where I robbed power. Is actually power for the headlights, so I have to do something there to fix that. And then I got to figure out why the hour meter doesn't work. But fender pan's on, getting there. Hopefully I can get a starter for tomorrow or maybe Sunday. I'm not real sure yet. And then I got to try and locate the little side panels that I'm missing. But we got to get through this problem and the choke cable, stuff like that. So till the next. So I guess this is going to be our conclusion for right now. It still needs, parking brake handle. I need to come up with a headlight switch, put a choke cable on it. I'm missing side cover, tail light, side cover. I have one side panel I think I can make work. It's missing the grill. I got to deal with the PTO clutch. I still got to get an air cleaner on it. But yeah, that's where we are with it. I mean, so for now, this is where I'm going to leave it off at. Just because, quite honestly, I just don't have any of the other stuff. And monetarily speaking, it's going to take some time to get it, track it down and get it. They want like $300 or $400 for a pair of side panels on eBay. So it's going to take a minute. I got to deal with carburetor. I ended up nipping the end of this off so I could get it running. So I've got to tape that wire up, obviously, before I tuck it in there. But, I need to change oil. But I'm going to leave it where it is for now. But definitely want to thank Small Engine Garage for helping me out on finding a motor for it. It's a pretty easy swap. Essentially, it's if you use your 332 wire harness, it is 2 wires, a power and a ground. You literally don't have anything else to deal with on it. So, that being said, if you're interested in it, do it. It's worth it. It's worth messing around and doing. It'll take you a few hours. I'm not going to lie, but it's worth it. So, it's better than having a blown up diesel. So, anyways, figured I'd update you guys. I'm going to make this all into one video here pretty quick. So I'll get this thing posted. When you see this, it'll be posted. So, yeah. In conclusion, it runs, it drives. So, thanks for watching.